All I can say is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they?
And they are still in a panic over Glenn Youngkin's amazing victory in Virginia on Tuesday night. That was something, wasn't it? But the panic and the crazy things they're saying, how they're explaining this, it's offensive. It's slightly amusing, but mostly offensive.
Glenn Youngkin played the race card for a reason, because he knows it works on certain white voters.
He did stoke white grievance politics to mobilize the Republican base.
He's laundered Trump's really sort of disgusting, flagrant out racism. He's wrapped it in education.
Education, right, which is code for white parents don't like the idea of teaching about race.
That's the fundamental problem for these parents and this anti-CRT movement. They don't like the way whiteness is being portrayed in these new, more inclusive lessons.
This wasn't about those pocketbook issues. This was about how white kids feel talking about what black kids go through.
I don't think any of these folks understand, and they've been looking as closely as we have, as at some of these amazing people who've stood up at these school board meetings coast to coast. I mean, white people, black people, Asian people, Muslim people standing up and speaking so forcefully and so eloquently against this rotten critical race theory. These people deserve so much credit. But back to the fake news, I think they've got an awful lot of hate in their heart.
This is a typical case of a white womaning, right? So we see the disrespect, we see the privilege.
White women have taken an active role in the maintenance of white supremacy.
White girls and white women, they get much more news coverage than other folks of different demographics when they go missing.
Why not the same media attention when people of color go missing? Well, the answer actually has a name: missing white woman syndrome.
The privilege of this guy during his confirmation hearing, we saw white man rage on full display for everybody.
Be careful if you get angry and you're a white man rage. Wow. But if you think this was bad, it gets worse.
For the first time in history, white women may have surpassed their male counterparts in the whiteness scale. Blonde white women did a lot this decade. They advanced the cause of white womaning further than they have in any point in history.
Taylor Swift's decade was so white, like she became like unknowingly, or maybe she did know, that she was like a white supremacist icon.
A lot of white women take a dip in the pool of blackness.
They're basically taking everything that, all the beauty of blackness and whitewashing it. My advice to white women is mind your own business.
Okay, this is racist. This is ugly, but this is essentially mainstream now. The Root has gone mainstream. That's a very popular website on the left, and anything left is accepted. Talk about the race card. I thought about the race card when I saw this, the race card. You know who, at least in my lifetime, I think he coined the phrase, the legal defense team for O.J. Simpson. Who remembers where they were when he was acquitted? That was some moment. And right afterwards, one of the lawyers seemed to have some regrets about how they handled the case. I mean, one of the lawyers on the winning side. Remember this?
Mr. Shapiro, you said in the beginning that race would not be a determining part of this case, that you would not play the race card. The race card was surely played.
Barbara, my position was always the same, that race would not and should not be a part of this case. I was wrong. Not only did we play the race card, we dealt it from the bottom of the deck.
The race card. I think the race card almost always comes from the bottom of the deck. Now, it may have helped O.J. Simpson get off on that in that case. That was pretty wild, wasn't it? But it's not helping the people. It's not helping black people, white people. It's not helping our country, this bottom of the deck race card, is it? One bit. No. And when we see the race card played, it's ugly. Those folks on MSNBC who seem to not like, in fact, they seem to detest people who don't look like them, this is dangerous, scary stuff. I've been saying for a long time, though, that America is ready for a serious conversation about race, a substantive conversation about race. But no, they're intent on having a silly conversation about race. For one brief shining moment, Barack Obama himself was ready to have that difficult conversation, but important one, when it came to race.
Go into any inner city neighborhood, and folks will tell you that government alone can't teach our kids to learn. They know that parents have to teach, that children can't achieve unless we raise their expectations and turn off the television sets and eradicate the slander that says a black youth with a book is acting white. They know those things.
Did you hear that? A black youth with a book is acting white in any inner city neighborhood. He said that. He said that in 2004. Did you know that was an issue? I did not know that was an issue. But I know if he said it in 2004, it's not been eradicated. It's not been turned around, because that is an awful mindset to have. He didn't just say it once. 10 years later, as president.
African Americans in communities where I've worked, there's been notion of acting white, which sometimes is overstated, but there's an element of truth to it where, okay, if boys are reading too much, then, well, why are you doing that? Or why are you speaking so properly? And the notion that there's some authentic way of being black, that if you're going to be black, you have to act a certain way and wear a certain kind of clothes, that, that has to go.
Yeah, that has to go, but it hasn't gone. And you didn't really drive that issue very much. You can tell he's very tentative. He feels vulnerable. He doesn't feel comfortable making this case because the far left didn't want to hear it. And when he did it, only occasionally they'd attack him. And he basically shied away from an amazing and important conversation that he could have led and probably could have brought on real change. But instead, he played it safe. He was out for Barack Obama. Don't rock the boat. He had too much money to make post-presidency. He's still making the money, but now we know he can't swing an election. He tried in Virginia, fell flat on his face. And now, there can be no denying that this guy is a great big phony.
The big message of Terry's opponent is that he's a regular guy because he wears fleece. I'm glad that the guy can play basketball. Many of you know, I'm a big hooper. So that's a good thing. The guy can hoop. That's great.
What the hell is a hooper? Excuse me, a hooper. Basketball fans, nobody calls it hooping. Anyway, yeah, Youngkin's a real phony and you're the real deal, right? We saw you play basketball plenty. That was something that made you special. You used it for your own political benefit. Anyway, let's get back to the authenticity of Barack Obama on the campaign trail.
We ain't got time to be tired. We don't have time to be tired. What is required is sustained effort.
We don't have time to be what? You don't fool us anymore. You never really fooled me. Maybe for a little while, 2008, 2009.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.